what's really going on in the real estate market? We're going to talk about that right now. Hey everyone, it's Alex Vaughan here from Remax Hallmark, Daryl King team, and today we're going to be talking about the Vaughan real estate market. Let's just dive right into it. Okay, so overall, as you probably heard, from the mainstream media, that the market's changing. But the question really you should be asking yourself is by how much and what types of homes? Okay, so we're going to be talking more about that in terms of numbers. The good thing about the Vaughan real estate market is the fact that it still outperforms the various types of markets, the real estate market and the crypto market. And it doesn't matter what type of asset class, right? So whether it's a detached home, a semi, a condo apartment, or a condo townhouse, okay? It doesn't really matter. Stock market, for example, the NASDAQ composite, it did drop by 22%. In the same time frame. Okay, so from August 2021 versus August 2022. Also, the crypto market dropped by over 61% in the same time frame. Okay, so it's really good to put that into perspective. When you listen to the radio or you're watching CP24 and they're just creating trying to create headlines. It's about really diving into the numbers, and that's what we're gonna do. So in Vaughan overall, there are less sales on a year-to-year basis, even though it is historically the slowest time of the month or the real estate market, August and July, typically because, everyone's going on vacation. But even then, okay, it is even slower than usual. Okay, so if you hear that, it's just slow in general, it's slower and slower. Okay, now in terms of number of sales, 419 transactions happened the year before. Now it happened about 260. Okay, in terms of active listings, it had 200 more homes available in the same time period, and the average price did drop by 2.7%. So that's good to know. Now the type of market, it is changing, okay, from 1.09 to 2.53, and it is taking about 5 additional days to sell a home. Now let's just dive into the detached homes. Okay, so the number of transactions that happened was 127 in August 2022, and 2021 was about 204. So that is about a 37% decrease, and there is an increase in available homes, which is 307. Okay, versus 221. Now, what's worth noting is that the detached homes fell quite drastically, almost 7%. Okay, the average home in Vaughan was about 1.813 million, and it dropped to 1.689. Okay, now the type of markets, it has been shifting towards a buyer's market, and the days on markets, it's about 6 days. Okay, longer to sell your home, detached home. But when it comes to semis, for example, the number of transactions actually increase, which is very interesting, okay? Because if you look at other types of homes, that's not the case at all. Okay, so in 2021, there were 17 transactions, and a year later or a month ago, it was 24. Okay, so that's about 41% increase. Now, in terms of active listings, it also increased as much as well. In August 2022, it went up 21 available listings, and 2021, is 11. Now, what's very interesting though is that the price have gone up by 4.34%, unlike the detached homes. Okay, now it is still a seller's market, and it hasn't even approached number one yet. Oh, my thing just fell over here. But yeah, I'm about to get married. So yes, let's just move on quickly. In terms of days on market, it takes additional 7 more days to sell a semi, which is quite interesting. It's taking longer to sell a semi. It's slowly moving towards a buyer's market. There's more listings, yet the average price has gone up. Okay. Now, the next type of home we should look at is the townhome within Vaughan. The sales have decreased drastically from 62 to 32, and more listings available. So it's essentially flipped, okay, within a year, which is quite interesting. 62 active or available listings versus 34 the year before. Now, what's also interesting too, though, is that it also increased in terms of a price, right? So the average price of a townhome in Vaughan went up to 1.129, versus 1,076,000. Okay, so the type of market, though, it is clearly shifting towards a buyer's market. However, it is still well below the number 6 threshold, which essentially just means how much inventory there is available in the market, right? So once it hits about 5 to 6, right, that threshold, that's a balanced market. And from 6 to 12, it is still, that's going to become a buyer's market, okay? But because we were well below 5, it's still a seller's market, and it's taking over twice the amount of time to sell Vaughan Townhome, which is interesting. You would think that, the longer listings on the market, the lower the price. But what we're finding is that there's more listings that get taken off the market. So the seller decides not to sell, and because they're not getting the price that they want. Okay. Next is the condo townhome. In terms of sales wise, there are less sales, 8 versus 18. It's about 55% decrease. The number of listings over doubled, 34 versus 15. What's very, very interesting, though, is that the average price increased by 5.21%. Okay. Despite that, there's less sales, there's more active listings, it's clearly shifting towards a buyer's market, 0.83 versus 4.25. That's the highest so far that we have in Vaughan, in terms of, other types of homes, right? So in terms of the days on market, it is increased by 3 additional days as well. So last but definitely not least, we're going to be looking at the condo apartments, right? So there are 69 homes that sold in Vaughan, okay, versus 116 in August 2021. There are more listings, right? 232 versus 164. However, the prices still have gone up, right? 669 versus 650. And the type of market, it is shifting towards a buyer's market or a balanced market. We're almost there, from 1.41 to 3.36. Okay, and it's taking 3 additional days to sell in Vaughan of August. Okay, now what you need to understand, though, is that, is it a good time to buy? Now, at the end of the day, it's a personal choice, but what I like to think about is, can you afford the home, right? Can you make the, mortgage payments? Okay, that's number one. That's very important. And number two, does it fit is it a home that you like? Is it a great location? Is there any renovations you need to do? All those things are really good factors. And, if you can't afford it, then then don't bother. It's not the right time for you, and don't take it personally, and definitely don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Okay, just because, your friend, is doing very well, and, they just bought a place, and, you don't want to just buy it because you want to keep up with them. Okay, going back to, can you afford it or not, right? So the Bank of Canada is expected to raise interest rates again from 0.75 to maybe even 1%. Okay, so that's going to affect your mortgage payments, and depending on, how much mortgage you get, it's going to affect you more if you obviously borrow more. It just makes sense. Okay. It's good to know, though, that the inflation rate is 7.6% as of July 2022, according to, the government. And, despite this, though, for the most part, Vaughan home prices have increased. It is less than the inflation rate, but, it's outperformed the various markets, right? The stock market and the crypto market. So if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will be happy to help. Take care. Talk soon. Bye-bye.